Basically, a transducer is a device which converts one form of energy into another form of energy. So in this regard, so the majorly classifies the transducers into active and passive transducer. Active and passive transducers. So in the active transducers, it will works on the principle of energy conversion. It will works on the principle of energy conversion principle. So it means it converts one form of energy into another form. Okay, one form of energy into another form of energy. It may be mechanical form of energy into electrical form, or it may be thermal form of energy into electrical energy form, like that. So for these active transistors, you don't require any external energy sources. No external energy source is required for active transistors. Another type of the transistor is passive transistor. In passive transistors, these passive transistors are works based on the principle of energy controlling. Okay, to identify the variation of the uh, variable, change of the variable, so we have to apply some external energy or external voltage, and by that we can identify the variation of the transducer. That variation is caused by the physical variable. So in the biomedical application, so we can measure the biological or physiological variables, and generally you can measure the temperature, blood flow, and heart sounds. Heart sounds. Okay, so we to measure all these physiological variables, so we can use the transducers. So in that transducers, active transducers and passive transducers are used, whereas passive transducers are based on the energy controlling. Okay, so they require the excitation voltage. So coming to active transducers, so in active transducers we can classify it as again basically four types. So electromagnetic transducer, piezoelectric transducers, thermoelectric transducer, photoelectric transducer. So here there are uh, different energy sources. Here it is electromagnetic, so that is mechanical energy, so that will be converted into electrical energy, and piezoelectric effect. Here they are applying force or pressure, that will be converted into electrical energy, and thermoelectric effect. Here thermal energy will be converted into the electrical energy. Photoelectric effect. In this, the input is the photon energy, and that will be converted into electrical energy form. So in all these active transducers, we will convert different forms of energy to all to electrical energies. It is reversible effect also works. It works on the reverse also. So by applying the charge or by applying the voltage or potential to these transducers, they will convert corresponding form of energy. Okay. So active transducers are reversible transducers also. Active transducers are reversible transducers, whereas passive transducers are non-reversible transducers. So we cannot get the opposite process. Opposite conversion is not possible. Whereas active transducers, it is possible to convert one form of energy, and also reverse also it is possible. So in electromagnetic effect, so we can use the electromagnetic induction principle. Okay. I think this is discussed in previous class. Although also I am going to go in this one topic, that is we can observe that, so whenever the conductor will cut the magnetic field, whenever a conductor will cut the magnetic field, the EMF will be induced in the wire or conductor. So this is the main basic principle involved in the electromagnetic induction. So how the EMF will be generated? So that is the conductor which will makes the cut of the flux, magnetic flux. So due to that, the EMF will be generated. So based upon this principle, there are two types of instruments are there, or transducers are there. That is, one is linear and another is a rotary motion. So we can measure these principles based upon linear and rotary motions, revolving or a rotational force, rotational direction. So this is the second one. That is, this one is used for measurement of the angular velocity or angular displacement. So once you know the displacement, from that we can find out the velocity also. So to measure the angular displacement, so here this a north pole and south pole. Okay, this is the magnet, permanent magnets. In between we have a roller. On that roller we were wounded the coil. We wounded the coil over this roller, and this roller is connected to a shaft, and this shaft is connected to the object whose angular displacement or angular velocity is to be measured. This shaft is connected to the rotating object. Suppose we have to find out the angular velocity of a rotating object. Suppose we have to find out the angular velocity or angular rotation of the a fan. So how much speed it is rotating, how we can measure. Similarly, in industries also, we have to measure the angular velocity of the motor. So how much speed it is rotating. Depending upon that, we have to control. Okay, so to measure those type of the devices, we have to measure the angular velocity. So that will be that device whose angular velocity is to be measured. That instrument is connected to this shaft. Suppose suppose we have a windmill. Windmill is there. So that windmill is shaft is connected to this particular okay. So this windmill is fixed here, or you can consider a rotating object, whether it is windmill or some motor. Okay. So due to some air, this windmill or fans of the mill will rotate it, and that is connected to a rotating object, and this is connected to the a conducting wire which is wound on this rotating object. So whenever the fan is rotating, the shaft is also rotates and the rotating object is rotates. Generally, you can say this is a rotor. This rotating object is considered as a rotor of the generator or motor. Okay, so we are wound the wire on this rotor. Okay, so whenever the rotor will be rotates due to the fan, this coil will also rotates, and the flux which is passing from north to south pole, the flux generally flows from north to south pole. That flux will be cuts every time rotating of the wire. It cuts the magnetic field, and due to that, the EMF will be induced in the coil. The EMF will be induced in the coil. That EMF will be collects at the output stage by using some connection points. We will get the output voltage. That will be considered as EMF. This EMF is proportional to how much the conductor will cut the magnetic field. Depending upon that, we will get the EMF. If the speed of the fan is increases, then the rotor will rotate very fast, and by that the wire or conductor will cut the magnetic field, and due to that we will get more amount of the potential output voltage. So like this, we have the application of the electromagnetic induction principle. Okay. So this is the electromagnetic effect transducer or electromagnetic transducer. Okay. So like this we can have electromagnetic transducer. Similarly, we have another one. We'll see what are the applications of this one. So generally in electromagnetic induction principle is most widely used in biomedical applications. Biomedical applications for the measurement of heart sound microphones. To measure the heart sound, we can use the microphones. Pulse transducers, electromagnetic blood flow meters, okay, and also we can use this electromagnetic induction principle in the output stage of the biomedical instrument system. So in the output stage we can have the recording stage, okay, recording stage. In that we have the recorders. So different types of recorders, and those recorders will rotate based upon the applied electrical voltage. Okay, so here analog meters using the d-orbital movement. So by the application of this applied current, it will be rotates. So here we are explained previously, that is by the rotating we can get the output voltage. That is one principle. What we told that active transducers will also work in reverse direction also. It means, suppose we apply some current to a conductor which is placed in a magnetic field. Okay, suppose a wire is there, okay, and we are send the current through the, or apply some voltage between this coil, and due to that it will experiences a motion. It experiences some change in its direction. So that will be possible. So both the cases it is true. So whereas in the output stage it is required to produce the permanent record. Okay, for that purpose we have to use some recorders. For that recorders we have some noting. I mean, so it will be draws over a rotating object. Okay, suppose we have a pen motors ink. Okay, so that pen motor will rotate and produces some ink over the chart. That obtained output is proportional to how much voltage we are obtained from the patient. That voltage will be amplified, and that amplified voltage will be applied to this pen motor. So depending upon the amount of voltage which is applied this pen motors, it will be provides the motion, so change of its direction. Okay, like that we can use this electromagnetic induction principles. Okay, and similarly we have thermal recorders. So generally these are at the output stage of the biomedical instrument system we have. So analog meters also same principle. So by applying the amount of the current to the coil, it will deflect the pointer on the meter. The arsenal galvanometers are there, so they will show the pointer reading based upon the amount of voltage we are applied on the meter. So like this we can have the electromagnetic effect. Okay, and the next one is piezoelectric effect. So based upon this piezoelectric effect, we have the transducers which are works on the principle of whenever there are certain type of materials. There are certain types of materials like quartz and rochelle salt, natural materials. These are natural materials. So when they are these materials, when we apply some force on these materials, they will experience some displacement, and due to that there is a separation of the charge will be occurs. So if you observe this figure, so when we apply the force on this piezoelectric material, the charge carriers will be separated. So On the top side it is positive and the down side is negative. So that depends upon the how much force we are applied. Okay, so if you can measure with this positive and negative, we can get the output voltage. So the obtained output voltage is proportional to the formation of these charge carriers. The formation of or separation of charge carriers depends upon the how much of force we are applied. So here the force will be converted into charge carriers, and the charge carriers are measured using the some electrical device or voltmeter. With that we can get the output voltage. Output voltage is proportional to the amount of the force. Okay. Similarly, for this piezoelectric effect, it is also reverse also correct. It means applicable. It means suppose we are applied some voltage across this material, okay, piezoelectric materials, then what happens? So they will experience some displacement. They will experience some displacement. So that we will see in the next figure. So this is one. So here we apply the voltage across these two terminals, and these are the two materials layer by layer we are arranged. Okay, so we are applying some voltage in this manner. So then there is a displacement of the this material will be occurred. So voltage will be converted into some displacement. Okay, that will be converted into force. So like this it is used to convert the force to electrical voltage or electrical voltage to force. So this is used in the our biomedical applications as. So these piezoelectric principles are occasionally used in microphones for harsh sounds or other acoustical signals from which within the body. Suppose we have to measure the harsh sounds of the patient. For that we have to use stethoscope. Okay. So in the stethoscope we have microphone. So that microphone is based upon the principle of piezoelectric effect. So by putting on the chest of the human body, so due to that variations or displacement or pressure which is applied on this particular piezoelectric material, so it will be converted into corresponding electrical signals, and those electrical signals will be noted. Okay. So similarly, and these are more important application of piezoelectric transducers and biomedical instrumentation in ultrasonic instrumentation. So nowadays it is very important application. So that is the ultrasound instruments. So when you go to the hospital, they will definitely ask you go for ultrasound test for a pregnant lady, because for a pregnant lady it is necessary. How it is necessary means to know the how the baby growth is there in the in the uh, in the what you call, so in the pregnant lady. Okay, so to observe the growth of the infant baby. Okay, so how much growth it is there, what are the formation of the parts of the baby. So all those will be identified by using this ultrasound scan. So that ultrasound scan is based upon the this piezoelectric effect principle only, because so the piezoelectric principles we can use a sensors and transducers. That is the signals will be sent from the transmitter, and the other side will receive the these transmitted signals. Okay, so for that transmitting and receiving purpose of ultrasound signals, we can use these piezoelectric materials, and the principle is also same. So for the transmitter, we have to send the ultrasound signal. So that ultrasound signal is based upon by applying the some voltage. By applying the voltage, this transmitter will convert that voltage into the ultrasound signals, and other side receiver will receive this ultrasound signal in terms of the force or pressure, and that will be converted into the electrical signals. Like this, the ultrasound instruments or ultrasound energy will be generated by using these piezoelectric principles. Okay, it is very important in medical applications. And the next one is thermoelectric effect. So in this thermoelectric effect, the transducers which will convert the thermal form of energy into the electrical form of energy. So for this purpose, we have to use that Seebeck effect. For the thermoelectric effect transducers, we can use the Seebeck effect. Based upon that Seebeck effect, we can call the transducer, it is the thermocouple. So thermocouple is a transducer which converts the thermal form of energy into electrical form of energy. Okay, so here that thermocouple is works on the basic principle of the Seebeck effect. Seebeck effect. So how we can form the thermocouple? So here we have a two wires or dissimilar metals, or consider or take the two dissimilar metals, not same metals. Okay, and join those two metals. Then we can form two junctions. Okay, one junction will be placed at the temperature what we have to measure. Another junction we can use for the measuring, that is outputs. Okay, so for that, like that, we can use the Seebeck effect. So how we can produce the output in terms of voltage means, so it will produces the output voltage based upon the difference of between these two junctions. Okay, if you consider this figure, here we have a dark line is a metal B. Dark line is metal B, and the normal line is a metal A. The normal line is a metal A. Okay, so here we have formed two junctions. This is junction 1 with metal A and metal B, and this is metal B and metal A. Okay, like this also you can do. So I will show another figure. See here. So here we have one junction. This junction is caused by metal A and metal B. So you can take any type of the two different metals and join those two metals. Okay, and from there, so this is the metal A and this is the metal B. Okay, and these two junctions, this is formed as one junction and this is formed as another junction. Okay, from here we will connect the copper wire. Metal A is connected to copper wire and metal B is connected to copper wire, and that is connected to a voltmeter, because we have to measure the voltage or electrical voltage which is generated. So because of this junction, so this junction is called as reference junction and this is a measuring junction. So this particular junction will be placed in the temperature where we have to measure. Okay, and because of the temperature differences between the measurement junction and reference junction, it will produce as the output voltage, electrical voltage. That output voltage or electrical voltage is measured by using this voltmeter. So difference of the temperatures will produce as the output electrical signal. That signal is proportional to the difference of the signals. Suppose we are using both those junctions at the same temperature, the difference is 0, the output voltage is 0. So like this we have. So here also we have junction 1 and junction 2. Okay, so difference of these two junctions, that is temperature. Here we can use one temperature, you can use another temperature. Difference of these two temperatures, we can get the output voltage. So generally you can use the and the output of the thermocouple is very small in terms of microvolts per degree Celsius. Here it is 40 microvolts per degree Celsius we can obtain for the copper and Constantan. So copper and Constantan is used as a thermocouple. We can obtain the 40 microvolts per degree Celsius. 40 microvolts per degree Celsius. And similarly, when you use the iron and Constantan pair as thermocouple, okay, and Constantan is an alloy of nickel and copper. Constantan is an alloy of nickel and copper. So with this, we can get the iron Constantan, we can get the 53 microvolts per degree Celsius. For increasing of the temperature of 1 degree Celsius, we can get the 53 microvolts. Okay, that's why the sensitivity of the thermocouple is very small. Okay, so that's why we can for measurement of the sensitivity is very less. That's why it is not suitable for the biomedical applications. Okay, so we have another type of the temperature measuring devices in the passive transducers that we'll see while in discussion of passive transducers. So generally we can measure with reference to the 0 degree Celsius, because the 0 degree Celsius we can use. Generally we can use reference junction as 0 degree Celsius, and measuring junction is the some other 100 degree Celsius, like that. So then we can easily obtain directly obtain the difference of 100 minus 0, it gives the 100 volts directly we can get. So in some cases it is not possible to maintain 0 degree Celsius. In some cases it is okay. So in some cases it is not possible to maintain 0 degree Celsius. So in such situation we have to provide the electronic compensation. Okay, so electronic compensation circuits are used for providing the reference junction. So I think reveal one thing here. So here it is metal A is some iron and the metal B is some constant. Okay, so these two are metals. Okay, so to measure the obtained output voltage, again we have to connect the meter. This meter is also using the wires, and these wires also copper wires. Copper is a conductor. Again, it is conductor. Now, for connecting this or measuring this voltage across these two terminals or metals, metal A and metal B, again we have to use the copper. And this copper is also contacted with this metal A and metal B. Again, this will form as junction. And similarly, here it is also a formed as junction. Again, there is a potential difference will be occurs. Okay, so like this again we have to produce the error. Okay, error. That's why we can use this reference junction at the same temperature, maintaining the same temperature. Then while connecting the copper wire to these 2 points, both the temperature is same. That's why the null effect, that is generated temperature is voltage is 0, because the same temperature is maintained at this reference junction. Okay, so that's why the output is not the error. So it will output is the temperature difference between the measuring junction and the reference junction. I think you may catch my point. So at this point, for measuring of voltage across these 2 points, okay, so we have to use some voltmeter. With this voltmeter we can use some measuring points, and those measuring points should be connected to this particular metal A and metal B. When we connect it, it will also form as a junction. This is also junction, because copper is a metal and here metal A is also metal. Okay, so with this junction will form as a junction. With these 2 metals it will form as junction. So again it will be acts as a one junction, and here it is one junction, and here it is another junction. So like this we have 3 junctions. So 3 junctions will produce the 3 different temperatures. Okay, and that we can obtain the error voltage. To avoid such situations, we can use these 2 points or measuring points in the same temperature at the same point. Okay, temperature does not change. Okay, then if there is no temperature variation between these 2 junctions, the difference of the generated output voltage between these 2 points is 0. Finally, we can get the output voltage that is corresponds to the difference of metal A and metal B. Like this, we can use the reference junction for measuring of the output voltage. So, and one more thing, in industries, this thermocouple is at far away, that is near some boiler, some other points, but we have to obtain the output voltage from that particular place to our control room. Okay, in the control room we can get the output voltage. For that purpose, we have to use copper wire again. So entire distance it is we are using copper wire. So then what happens? If the length of the copper wire increases, maybe temperature in between maybe changes. Like that, the temperature will be affects. So when the temperature changes, the conductivity of the copper wire may be changes. Due to that, also you can get the change in the output voltage, because the thermocouple will produce a very small, small voltage in terms of microvolts. We suppose the temperature variations are occurred, and due to that the copper conductance may be changes and resistance may be increases, and due to that the obtained voltage at the measuring point, which is far away from the measuring point or some control room, it is the final output voltage maybe decreases to 0. It does not show anyway. So in such situation we can use same metals which are used for manufacturing of this thermocouple. The same type of the materials will be used for such a distance. Okay, from the measuring point, from the where we have to measure that particular temperature, from that particular point to control room. From that point to control room. Control room generally it is far away from the process place. Okay, so that's why we have to use the long wires, and those long wires also manufactured the same metal which are used for the manufacturing of the thermocouple. Okay, so like this we can avoid the errors due to temperature variations of these conductors or metals. Okay, and we told that it is reversible. So one thing is thermocouple effect is converted thermal to electrical energy, that is Seebeck effect, and reverse direction it is Peltier effect. Peltier effect. So Peltier effect is the flow of current causes one junction to heat and another junction to cool. So I think you are using some heater, water heater. So all of you put in a bucket your heater. Okay, by pumping the current. Okay, it will be heats at the other end. It will not heat at this other side. So it is the effect of the Peltier effect. Okay, in some cases you can use cool some instruments. So in the place of heating, we can also make the cooling of the other parts of some instruments. So like this we can use the thermoelectric effect. So it is already less than 1 minute of the time is there. So this will be continued for the next session. So if you have any doubts or clarifications, you can chat with me.